Do you think there's enough general kind of awareness, and I just mean just on a kind of society level, of what it's like for young people in some of these units? Because when I hear a lot of people talk about care, for example, our young people in care, young people in these supported houses, I don't think there's a lot awareness of exactly what's going on. I think they think something is different is happening.
I think I think there have been a lot of programs more recently over the past couple of years where there have been quite a lot of true reflections of it. Um, I know certainly whenever I kind of speak to people and I'd say this is the line of work I do. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, that's so loving. Oh, that's so positive of you. And it's like it's really bloody hard. I
Mm,
mean, it's really hard, and it's hard physically, it's hard mentally, and it's
mm,
hard emotionally. And it does become a challenge, but it also is probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever
mm,
done when you get a success story and things go right and you've changed somebody's life or somebody's life experiences. A lot of these young people come to us and their experiences up to 16 have been pretty damn horrendous. They've experienced things that none of us could ever imagine 9 times out of 10. And if you can just make those couple of years that they're with you, give them the optimism, put them on a pathway that could go somewhere positive, that's amazing. And I
mm.
kind of feel like, if you can just give somebody that little injection of life and sort of, belief and consistency for that period of time, then I
Yeah,
think it's definitely something positive. But I don't think people get it. And I think people turn a bit of a blind eye to it.
yeah.
Friends of mine would moan about the damp in their kitchen. And I'd be sitting there going, you got damp? I'm dealing with a girl that's been, her mum has prostituted her from 7 years old till this. And you're going to cry about damp. Like,
Yeah.
get out of my face.
And that kind of leads me to even what I was thinking as well in regards to the staff thing as well, is that I always kind of felt there is enough support there for the staff, but not based on maybe there isn't the budget for it, but I do think the staff you have to deal with a lot. So that goes back to what I was saying for me, even about the training, for example. I think a lot of young people, like what you said, have gone through real complex trauma. They've got complex needs, complex mental health needs. So a lot of what they might be dumping on you, for example, like it might be a lot. So once you've been there, maybe for a period of time, for example, when you've built a rapport with that young person, then they start to share some of the stuff that they've gone through can be quite horrific, quite traumatic. A lot of places I know don't actually provide kind of therapeutic support for the staff in that moment. Where now, after you've had to held and took all that in, you did now just kind of go home and have to deal with it almost in your own way. Hopefully, you got some form of coping mechanism in place, and you're meant to then report to work the next day, and it's almost like rinse and repeat. Now you're gonna get that same cycle again.
It is really difficult, and I think from both aspects, I think I've been that employee that has. I think one of my early experiences, I was doing a sleepover. I'd turned up at a house. This girl was notorious for having parties at her house. I'd walked in, the front door was open, there was furniture coming down the stairs, and she'd obviously had a party. And I've kind of gone upstairs and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And I'm like, sort of walked in and I'm calling the girl's name and I'm looking room to room. And then a dude walks out the bathroom and just like walks downstairs. And I'm like, who are you? Like, what? And I'm just, I've walked in the bedroom. There's one of her friends is in her bed, and she's just like, "What the F are you? Who are you?" And I'm like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, and I was like, "Where's the girl?" I've walked in the bathroom and the girl's on the floor and her throat slit from side to side, and straight away I've gone grabbed a towel, put it over her, called an ambulance, called the manager at the time, and police are coming, and I actually, in supervision after that, I actually ended up getting a warning because I didn't put on gloves, because I'd turned my back, I hadn't left the property, and it was like, actually, somebody could have been in there, you endangered yourself, da da da. And I was just like, I couldn't get my head around that. I was like, I just, I stopped somebody bleeding out, it was
Mm,
like, it's what you just do, and it was like, but it's like, no, you have to have your clear thinking head on. And it was, yeah, it was pretty hard. And then I sort of went to supervision after. I'm like, do you know what? I'm really frustrated by this because actually, and it was sort of like, but you need to remain calm, you need to do these things, da da da. Um, and I probably should have had some therapy after that
mm,
because it was quite a traumatic situation to be in. She survived. She'd done it to herself, and I think that also was quite hard to swallow that somebody actually, it was probably one of my first experiences with kind of attempted suicide, and it was quite a difficult thing that a young girl of 16 felt that life wasn't worth living, that you would do that to yourself, sort of thing. And, you know, so I think I kind of carried that of where's she at, and I sort of, you know, took a lot to process through that, and didn't have therapy over it. And years later, when I have had therapy, it has come out. It's come out, and it's sort of like, you know, it's something that I was holding, but, you know, just sort of buried it deep down. And it was sort of like, and it's not the only situation like, you know, there have been a number of situations like that sort of through the years of working.